All right, let's dive right into this, because it's one of the most powerful and kind of backward financial ideas you'll ever hear. In a world that is completely obsessed with showing off, your single greatest defense might just be looking like you have nothing to defend at all. So, to really get what I'm talking about, let's picture two people you probably work with. First, you've got the guy who always parks his beat-up 2011 Honda Civic way out in the back of the parking lot. You know the one, faded paint, maybe a little dent on the bumper. Then you've got the person who pulls right up front in a brand new, gleaming, leased BMW. Now, who would you guess is wealthier?
Well, here's the twist. The guy in that all Honda, he's sitting on over $4.2 million in investments, and his house is totally paid off. He could walk away from his job tomorrow.
Meanwhile, the person leasing that shiny status symbol, they might have less than $50 to their name. You see, they're performing prosperity, but it's just an act. And I'm not exaggerating here. This is an incredibly common reality.
And this right here gets to the absolute core of what this whole explainer is about. We've been trained by social media, by ads, by everything, to mistake the symbols of wealth for the real thing. But true financial strength, it's almost always silent and totally invisible.
And look, this isn't just a fun little story. The research on actual millionaires confirms this, big time. Most of them don't look the part at all. They're living in average homes, driving reliable cars like Fords or Toyotas, and they are masters at dodging the exact luxury traps that keep so many other people broke.
Okay, so let's break down the first big reason why looking ordinary is such a powerful financial defense. It's simple. It makes you invisible to threats. When you don't look like a target, you're just way less likely to become one.
You know, security experts even have a name for this. They call it whaling. And it's exactly what it sounds like. Cybercriminals and scammers go hunting for the biggest fish they can find because they know the payout is going to be way, way higher. Flaunting your wealth is literally like throwing chum in the water and inviting the sharks.
And listen, this is not some tiny risk. The data shows that affluent Americans are a whopping 43% more likely to be victims of identity theft. When you're seen as wealthy, a giant target gets painted on your back. So by driving that modest car and skipping the flashy logos, you're not just saving money, you're buying yourself a kind of social camouflage that keeps you safe.
All right, defense number 2. This is all about avoiding a hidden tax that has nothing to do with the IRS. I like to call it the wealth tax, and it's charged by pretty much everyone, from your plumber to your mechanic.
Have you ever heard of a pricing strategy called ability to pay? The basic idea is that the price for something isn't actually fixed. It's based on what the person selling it thinks you can afford to pay.
I mean, think about it. A contractor comes to give you a quote. If they pull up to a huge house in a gated community with a brand new Escalade in the driveway, do you really think that quote is going to be the same as the one they give for the exact same job in a normal, middle-class neighborhood? No way. When you look ordinary, you get the standard ordinary rate, period.
And this whole idea, it spills right over into the social side of your life too. Because looking rich doesn't just cost you money with businesses, it costs you with people. The second you start displaying wealth, you start paying what I call a social tax. Suddenly, your friends just kind of assume you'll pick up the check at that expensive restaurant. Your family might start expecting you to foot the bill for the big holiday gathering. It just creates this constant, draining pressure to keep up the image you've built.
Honestly, the smartest wealth builders just opt out of this game completely. Their relationships are genuine because they're based on who they are as a person, not on their bank balance. It's a much more authentic and, frankly, a much cheaper way to live your life.
And finally, let's get to the most powerful, the most undeniable defense of all, the brutal, simple math of compound interest. Every single dollar you spend to look successful is a dollar that can no longer work to actually make you successful.
So let's just focus on one key number, $700. Right now, that's the average new car payment in America. For millions of people, this is just a normal, accepted monthly expense for driving something nice.
But here's the choice. You can spend that $700 every single month to maintain an appearance, or you could drive a perfectly reliable used car and invest that exact same $700 every single month instead.
And the long-term result of that choice is just staggering. Over a 40-year career at a pretty reasonable 8% return, that car payment transforms into nearly $1 million. That's it. That's the price of looking successful versus the massive reward of actually becoming successful.
Okay, so this brings us to the most important part of all. You know, understanding all this is one thing, but actually acting on it is something else entirely. So how do you really make that shift in your mindset from just looking rich to truly being rich?
Well, it all starts with one simple question. The next time you feel that pull, that urge to upgrade something, your car, your phone, whatever, just stop and ask yourself, am I buying this for what it actually does for me, or am I just buying a costume?
And to really build that discipline, try this tiny little habit. Let's call it the Morning Money Minute. Before you open Instagram, before you open TikTok, before you do anything else, open your banking or investment app. And for just 60 seconds, look at your numbers. That little daily dose of awareness is what builds the mental muscle you need to care more about your own future than about what other people think. Because that, at the end of the day, is the ultimate takeaway. Real power isn't in the performance of prosperity. It's in the quiet, unseen foundation of real financial freedom. The goal isn't to look rich. The goal is to be rich.